Here's the truth many don't realize. The person you were yesterday, the habits you repeat, the feelings you keep circling back to, and the memories you hold on to tightly, that version of you is still running the show. And as long as you drag that old version around, your life can't truly transform. The burden you carry isn't always something you can see or touch. Most times, it's invisible. A silent weight pressing on your chest every morning, whispering doubt in your mind. Don't expect too much. It shows up in the patterns you swore you'd never fall back into, but somehow do anyway. This old self isn't just a collection of past moments. It's a frequency embedded deep within your nervous system, your body chemistry, and every small choice you make. Like a broken record stuck on repeat, your old self plays on loop, while your dreams remain paused, waiting for you to hit play. Here's what no one tends to say out loud. You can't step into a new chapter of your life while still clinging to the energy of your past. A lot of people try to change by thinking differently, by visualizing, scripting their ideal lives. But underneath all that effort, they're still the same person energetically. They wake up with the same emotions, tell themselves the same stories, and expect the outside world to change without changing what's inside. This old identity wasn't designed for thriving. It was built to protect you. It emerged from pain, rejection, failure, and disappointment, shaping a defensive mask that felt necessary at the time. Over the years, you forgot it was just a mask, and it started to feel like your real self. But what if it isn't? What if the inner voice telling you you're not ready or that change is too risky is simply the echo of a version of you that's been left behind? Quantum physics offers a powerful insight. Reality isn't fixed or independent. It responds directly to your state of being, to the observer, which means you're not separate from the field of all possibilities. You are the field taking form. So when you wake up embodying that old self, guess what the universe delivers? More of the same. Not because you're cursed or failing, but because the field is loyal to coherence, and you're the tuning fork setting the vibration. You don't manifest what you want. You manifest who you are. This means transformation isn't about becoming someone new. It's about shedding everything that doesn't truly belong to you. The old self tries to keep you safe, but safety isn't the purpose of your soul. Stagnation isn't your destiny. That heavy identity molded by trauma, shame, or disappointment isn't the version of you who lives the life you've glimpsed in your highest dreams. That future already exists, not somewhere far off, but vibrating in a parallel frequency you can align with, not chase. But here's the hard truth. You can't step into that reality if you're emotionally addicted to your past. Holding on to guilt, resentment, or self-doubt keeps you trapped. You can't show up as yesterday's version of yourself and expect to collapse a new timeline you've never met. So what do? We break the cycle. We meet the old self with compassion, not judgment, honoring what it taught us, then releasing it. Together, we enter the quantum field, not just with words, but with vibration. I'll guide you to dissolve the energetic imprint of the past so you can finally inhabit the version of you that already lives the life you're asking for. Because the field isn't waiting for you to try harder. It's waiting for you to tune in differently. You're not stuck because your future isn't real. You're stuck because your identity keeps collapsing the same reality over and over. Once you shift that, once you let go of the weight, the wounds, the labels, something remarkable happens. Life bends. Reality reshapes. The field responds, not to what you say, but to what you become. Take a deep breath. Something inside you is already awakening, not from outside, but from within. Are you ready to meet the version of yourself that's already free? Think about your typical morning. You wake up in the same bed, with the same thoughts running through your head even before you open your eyes. Maybe today will be different. You hope. But the moment your feet touch the floor, your body has already chosen its familiar routine. Why? Because before your conscious mind starts creating, your subconscious identity is already in control. You're stepping into yesterday's self again, Your body remembers not as memory, but as biology. Emotions become hardwired neurochemical patterns. Behaviors turn automatic. Over time, you stop reacting to the present moment. Instead, you replay your past so much that the present feels stale, like déjà vu. Dr. Joe Dispenza points out that by age 35, 95% of who you are is a collection of memorized behaviors, emotional responses, unconscious habits, and conditioned beliefs. So much of what you call you is actually programming, running on autopilot. Bruce Lipton adds that changing your perception rewrites your body's chemistry, meaning who you are chemically, emotionally, and energetically creates your reality. This is why change feels so difficult. You're not just trying to change your thoughts. You're trying to break an emotional addiction your body has developed to being that old self, the one who expects disappointment, braces for abandonment, and doubts their worthiness. Not because you're broken, but because somewhere along the way, your system decided it was safer to expect less. You didn't consciously choose this path, but your system learned that suffering was familiar, and familiarity, even painful, feels safe. This is the real prison, not the external world, but the identity you're afraid to leave behind, even when it makes you sick, steals your joy, or isn't who you truly are. So ask yourself, with kindness and without judgment, what emotions do you feel most often? Regret, shame, doubt. What if those emotions aren't random, but rehearsed? What if your body is addicted to those feelings because they reinforce the old self's chemical identity? If that's true, what kind of reality do you think those emotions attract? Here's a harsh truth most never face. Your old self isn't just a memory. It's a magnetic field. And the quantum field listens not to your words or your vision boards, but to the emotional energy you carry every moment. You might say you want love, but if your baseline is, "I am not enough," you'll repel intimacy. You may visualize wealth, but if fear is your emotional home, you'll unconsciously block abundance. Not because you don't deserve it, but because your nervous system hasn't updated to a version of you that can receive it. That's why reading books, taking courses, or repeating affirmations doesn't always move the needle. Healing is not just mental, it's vibrational, embodied, and cellular. So what now? The first step is awareness, not shame, but clear seeing. Recognize that who you've been isn't fixed. It's a vibration you've been rehearsing. You can stop rehearsing it the moment you decide you no longer identify with it. This isn't self-hate, it's liberation. Giving yourself permission to stop carrying the weight of a version of you that only existed to survive a world that no longer exists. Here's the beautiful paradox. The moment you observe your old self without merging with it, when you see it through the eyes of your higher self, you become the observer. And in quantum terms, the observer changes everything. The observer collapses the wave. Once you realize your old self is just a pattern, you are no longer trapped by it. You become the consciousness watching that pattern. That awareness is the first crack of light in a whole new reality. Now I invite you to go deeper, beyond likes or subscriptions, into a space of true engagement with your transformation. Are you ready to step beyond who you've been and begin living as who you truly are? Pause for a moment and say this aloud, or write it down. I am ready to let go of the version of myself that no longer aligns with my future. This isn't just some empty phrase or a passing trend. It's a conscious act, a powerful break in the cycle, a clear message to the universe that you're no longer available to the old story. If these words strike a chord deep within you, if they awaken something ancient, something sacred, something stirring inside, then consider this an invitation. Not just to subscribe to a channel or a community, but to step into a new frequency of being. One that's about true transformation rather than just gathering information. Because if you're ready for that kind of shift, you are exactly where you're supposed to be. We've all been taught to ask for what we want. to believe it will come, to visualize our dreams vividly. Yet so many of us remain stuck, waiting for the moment when everything finally clicks. The money arrives, the right person walks into our life, or the breakthrough we've been longing for happens. When it doesn't, we start to doubt ourselves. Maybe we're doing it wrong. Maybe we're blocked. Maybe we simply aren't meant for more. But what if the issue isn't that your dreams are too big or that you're missing something? What if the real problem is that your vibration, the energy you're broadcasting, is still too familiar, stuck in old patterns? Here's a crucial insight that many teachings on manifestation miss. The quantum field doesn't respond to your words. It doesn't care about your vision board, or even what you say you want. It mirrors only one thing: your state of being. This is the law of vibrational coherence. In quantum physics terms, coherence happens when your heart, mind, emotions, and actions align fully. This kind of alignment is the energetic yes the universe has been waiting for, not the casual yes you jot down in a journal or say once in the morning, but the kind that's embodied, felt deeply, and lived consistently throughout your day. You cannot manifest beyond your frequency. The field doesn't hear, "I want abundance." It hears, "I am not enough." If that's your emotional baseline, your dream home will remain invisible to you because your energy is rooted in fear. If your emotional state is loneliness, jealousy, or unworthiness, the love you crave will slip through your fingers. Not because the universe is punishing you, but because it is precise. The quantum field acts like a mirror. You can't expect the reflection to change unless you truly change. Most of us try to manifest from who we are now, trying to force a future timeline that belongs to a completely different version of ourselves. But the future you, the one living the life you desire, is not just thinking differently. They are fundamentally different. They feel different. They carry themselves with a different energy, walk into rooms with a distinct presence, speak from a place of deep knowing. They've moved from wanting to being, from hoping to embodying. Science supports this too. Every thought you have sends out an electrical signal. Every emotion you experience radiates magnetically. Together, these form a vibrational broadcast, a continuous radio signal transmitted to the quantum field. But what you send out is not just about what you want. It's who you are. So what frequency are you broadcasting right now? Is it truly aligned with the reality you say you're ready to live? Or are you still emitting signals of fear, doubt, scarcity, and impatience, while trying to step into a timeline built on gratitude, trust, joy, and abundance? Imagine trying to listen to a rich, soulful symphony, but your radio is stuck on static. That's the experience of your old self reaching for a new timeline that it can't yet access. This isn't about mere positive thinking. That's just surface level. This is about energetic truth. The universe doesn't respond to your words. It responds to the energy stored in your nervous system. One of the most profound concepts from quantum mechanics, the observer effect, teaches us that the act of observing collapses potential possibilities into a single reality. But here's the key. It's not just what you observe, but who you are as you observe it that determines what becomes real. Neville Goddard put it beautifully. You are not manifesting, you are selecting, and who you are is the selector. Let that settle for a moment. You aren't attracting some far-off future. You are tuning into, selecting, and aligning with it right now. But you cannot align with something your current self has never met. That's why transformation is internal. You become the version of you who naturally draws in what you've been chasing. You don't pull things to yourself. You pull yourself up to the level where those things naturally belong. This is why trying to manifest without shifting your identity feels like pushing a boulder uphill. No matter how perfect your vision board or plan is, if the foundation, the version of you that stands behind it, hasn't changed, the structure will crumble. So, the real question to ask is, who do I need to become right now to vibrate at the frequency of what I desire? Not someday in the future, but this very moment, in thought, in feeling, in action, in embodiment. Because when you become that person, The universe reflects that immediately, not always through physical changes right away, but through energy, signs, synchronicities, and subtle sensations. You'll recognize it as that gentle, undeniable pull that lets you know you're tuned into something real. The struggle and effort fade, replaced by a sense of being exactly where you're meant to be, doing exactly what the right version of you would do. That's when the field begins to bend. Are you ready to meet the future version of yourself who already exists? You don't need to create a new you. You need to remember who you already are. There's a version of you living right now in a frequency that holds everything you've ever wanted. Not a hypothetical future self, but a very real and present self in the quantum field. The only barrier between you and that version is your vibration. This might sound revolutionary, but quantum physics has been telling us for decades, reality is not linear. Time isn't fixed. You're not moving along a straight line from point A to point B, gradually becoming your future self. What exists is an infinite field of now moments, all happening simultaneously, all accessible depending on where you choose to tune in. Call it the multiverse or divine potential. The message is the same. The thriving, healed, empowered, magnetic you is not on the way. They're already here, vibrating at a different frequency, living in a different state of being. Your job isn't to chase them, it's to collapse the gap between where you are and who they are by becoming vibrationally compatible. But let's be real. This isn't just lofty philosophy. It's deeply practical. So ask yourself, if your highest self were fully present in this moment, how would they think? How would they breathe? How would they interact with strangers, manage money, face the unknown? Would they cling to old doubts? Would they replay the same old rejection stories? Would they settle for less because this is all I get? Number. Your higher self vibrates from trust, alignment, grounded confidence, and calm magnetism. They don't manifest through struggle or force. They attract effortlessly through coherence. Their energy speaks before they do, and everything in their life, from relationships to health to purpose, aligns accordingly. Because here's a truth most people overlook. The universe doesn't rearrange itself simply because you're worthy. It rearranges because you're resonant. Resonance isn't something you beg for. It's something you embody. The most powerful shift you can make right now isn't about external circumstances. It's an internal decision. To stop identifying with your old story and start aligning with the new one. Not because it's visible or tangible yet, but because you choose to meet it vibrationally first. You walk first, and then the path appears. Now, close your eyes and picture yourself stepping into a room. There stands the version of you who already lives the life you desire. Feel their presence, not distant or mystical, but familiar, because that is you. They've always been you, just waiting for you to remember. Notice how they carry themselves, the relaxed shoulders, the light in their eyes, the clear, calm voice. They don't need to convince anyone. They radiate truth. They have shed the heavy burden that once weighed them down, burned the worn-out scripts that no longer served, and dismantled the version of themselves rooted in fear. In its place, a new identity has quietly surfaced, not built by piling on more layers, but by peeling away the old programming, the pain, the facades until only the core remains. Essence, soul, truth, and pure alignment. This transformation isn't about becoming something entirely new. It's about remembering what's always been there. You're not constructing a new reality from scratch. You're tuning into one that has always existed just beyond the veil. And here's where the real magic begins. The moment you stop clinging to your old frequency and start vibrating as your authentic self, the universe responds. At first, it might be subtle. A fresh thought you've never entertained, a chance encounter, a quiet nudge towards something your old self would have dismissed. The more you follow these signals, the stronger and more consistent this new timeline becomes. Suddenly, synchronicities show up, doors open, coincidences multiply, Not because you're forcing change, but because you're no longer resisting. You're receptive. And the most beautiful truth is that your old self doesn't need to be destroyed. It simply needs to be retired, thanked, honored, and gently released. It wasn't bad. It was just outdated. Like an old operating system that kept you running but limited your freedom. It's time to let it go. Step into the self who already knows how this story unfolds, who is already living in harmony with the future you once thought you had to chase. You are not pulling your new life toward you. You are aligning with the version of yourself who's already living it. Are you ready to meet that self? Let's move beyond talking about change and start feeling it. Let's become the change. Because no matter how insightful or inspiring information can be, it won't shift your life until it's fully embodied. That's when the transformation becomes tangible, when your new timeline solidifies through intention, ritual, and wholehearted commitment. Right now, you're about to guide yourself through a quantum identity reset. Not through struggle or forcing, but by gently collapsing the old identity that no longer serves your future and stepping into the one that already does. First, name your old self. You can't release what you haven't identified. Give that version of you a name, a word, a nickname, or symbol that captures who you have been. Maybe it's the doubter, the overachiever, the one who settled. Whatever feels right. Now speak to that identity. Thank it. It kept you alive. It helped you navigate survival, but it's not the one who will carry you forward. Next, engage in a ritual of release. Visualize yourself carrying that old self like a heavy backpack, stuffed full of memories, limiting beliefs, and worn-out stories. See yourself pause, gently set it down, and walk away lighter, taller, clearer. You don't have to destroy the past, you only need to release its grip. By doing so, you free up space within yourself and in the quantum field for a new frequency to arise. Now, embody the new self. Feel into who you are becoming in this moment. Stand or sit with the posture of the you who already walks aligned with your true path. Someone who trusts intuition, radiates calm, no longer chases because they have become what they once sought. How would this version breathe? Speak, move through challenges, shift fully into that presence. Then, anchor this transformation with a declaration. Repeat with intention and presence. I no longer collapse the past. I tune into who I truly am. Say it again. Not as a mantra, but as a vibration, cutting through old signals, echoing through your very cells. You're not just reciting words, you are becoming them. Every atom in your body is listening, and the quantum field is responding. As you vibrate as your new self, the world begins to rearrange itself. Opportunities once hidden surface. People aligned with your energy show up. Your external reality shifts, not because you begged for it or forced it, but because you changed from within. You are now resonating with your authentic frequency, and that resonance is your new reality. Remember, ritual isn't a one-time event, but a doorway, a frequency to return to whenever the old self tries to sneak back. It will come, not to sabotage you, but to be seen, witnessed, and gently reminded that you have outgrown it. Each time you consciously choose the new vibration, you reinforce and deepen this shift. Make this your daily practice. Before the world floods your mind, ask yourself, which version of me will I bring forth today? Choose consciously, lovingly, and with power. Because this choice doesn't just change your life, it shifts timelines. The ripple effect spreads through the quantum field, touching not only your reality, but the lives of everyone around you. You've reset your identity. You've collapsed the old patterns. You've entered the field anew. When you finally release who you were, the world rearranges itself around who you truly are. Not someday, not after years of effort, but right now. Change doesn't begin when the outside world changes. It begins the moment you do. Perhaps for the first time in a long while, you sense it. The lightness, that blend of peace and possibility. The quiet inner whisper that says something has shifted. That feeling isn't a trick of the mind. It's the quantum field responding to your new vibration. Reality is far more flexible than we've been taught. It isn't fixed or rigid, but fluid, alive, and ready for you to tune in. You don't drag your future toward you, you rise to meet it. You become the frequency of the life you desire, and by universal law, the external world must follow. Not by magic, but by the mathematics of vibration. Your vibration shapes your reality. When it changes, your life has no choice but to change with it. Look around. You may not see the difference just yet, but you have, and that alone shifts everything. Every thought you choose, every feeling you embody, every belief you nurture, either aligns you with your expanded timeline or pulls you back into the old. And you've already made your choice. Now the real work begins, not in theory, but in the living of your life. When old emotions arise, you'll remember, that's not you, it's residue. When old patterns try to replay, you'll pause and say, I no longer collapse that version of me. When fear whispers, you respond with presence. When doubt calls, you breathe deeper, speak softer, and act from a place your old self never accessed. You are no longer broadcasting the past. You've changed your signal, and that shift brings consequences. Beautiful, unimaginable, soul-expanding consequences. Some will show up quickly, unexpected clarity, meaningful coincidences, new people entering your life in new ways. Others will be subtle but no less real. A deep sense of alignment, effortless ideas flowing, moments of divine timing confirming you are finally living your truth. As we close this space, I want to invite you beyond likes or subscriptions. If this message stirred something inside you, if it reminded you that within you is a self that is not broken or stuck but radiant, infinite and whole, then leave a mark in the field. Speak, not just to me, but to your future self. Right below, the old me has been released. Let that be your energetic signature to the quantum field, a ripple, a declaration, a vibration. If this space feels like more than just content, if it feels like remembrance, then come closer. This is not merely a channel. It is a frequency, a home for those of us collapsing timelines and rising into the versions of ourselves we were always meant to be. Subscribe not just to stay connected, but to remain coherent, aligned, and elevated. Because transformation is not just personal, it's collective. The more of us vibrating at our highest truth, the more this world will reflect that truth back to us. You are not alone. You belong to a field of awakened beings stepping into their quantum nature. Now that you've remembered, you can't forget. The old you served its purpose. The new you is already living the next chapter. And reality? It's listening. See you on the next timeline.